which is fall 2023, or you will not be able to see the right application. And so since it is an application system, you do have to create an account, which I've already done, so we won't go through that, but I'll go ahead and sign in. And so this is what it looks like. I like to explain NursingCast as kind of two applications inside of one. So you kind of have your main application, which is your personal information, your academic history, all that background information that you could use to apply to multiple schools and with their applications. And then you have our application within it. So as you can see, we've got these 4 squares here, and all of these will need to be completed in order to submit your application. So you'll click on one, personal information, and you'll have all of these here that you'll need to complete, and they're really easy questions. You just want to make sure you fill it out completely. And then whenever you're done, these little circles will light up green, and it'll say 7 out of 7 or 3 out of 3, you know, however many tasks you have in that section. So once you're done with one section, you can go back to you can go and access all the other sections. So you'll complete all of these, and then the program materials is where you can actually find our application. And to do that, you'll actually need to add the program to your application. So we'll go up here to add program. And here you can find a list of all of the schools that offer their application through NursingCast. So if you're applying to more than one school, you can add multiple programs. But for us, we're going to search for Missouri State University. And it is listed as the second one. So it's really easy to find. I have actually already added it, but you'll want to click the little plus button that's usually here. And then you'll go to view selected programs once you do that. And here it is. And so if you're applying to multiple schools, it'll list all those schools that you're wanting to apply to. But we're just doing ours today. So we'll click on this one, and it kind of gives you just kind of a brief overview of the program that you're welcome to read. It's just kind of informational. But so once we've selected the program that we're wanting, you'll go back to my application, and then we'll go to program materials. So this is actually Missouri State School of Nursing's application. So again, we've got kind of an informational page right here. And the questions is where you're going to start filling out the actual application part. So as we go along, you're going to find some really basic, they're more like confirmational questions. So these ones are required by the university. So you'll make sure you fill those out for that, and they are required. If you're seeing any that have this little red asterisk, it's required. So you have to fill it out, or it will not show as completed. So as we go down, we need your M number. You have to have applied and accepted to the university in order to apply to the nursing program. We'll also need any transcripts that you have. Make sure you send those to the Office of Admissions. The nursing program does not process those, so you'll make sure you send those if you're taking courses anywhere else besides MSU. Then you'll enter in your email address. So we send out all official notices, reminders, your acceptance or denial or waitlist letter through your MSU email. So it's very important that you have that set up and that you're checking it regularly. But that's the email that we are looking for. And then we're kind of getting into those confirmation questions of, you know, do you have a 2.75 GPA? Have you taken the TEAS exam? the application process, we put that in there just so that you know that it is kind of a two-tiered system where you will get pre-scored on your application according to those 3 categories, and then a select number of students will go on to the interview process. And then we're kind of getting into all of the course questions. And again, this is just so that we know that if you're prepared to actually start the program. So make sure you have all of these courses. And then if you don't, we do have a, questions for that, a selection for that, where you can say I'm registered for, and I'm going to complete it. And that, again, that's just something that I look at when I'm processing applications so that we know who is ready to start the program. All right, so those are more course specific questions. And then we also have kind of like what you might expect when you start the program. You do have some initial equipment that you'll have to purchase, as well as provide your own transportation to clinical sites. And we also have something called a document manager system, and that is for your immunizations. Should you be accepted, those are all tracked through that site. So you'll be expected to pay for that and manage that as well. And then here's a list of our immunizations and just other like requirements that you have to have for the BSN program. So it's really good to read these and really kind of think about if you have these or not. So some of these immunizations are multiple series. And so if you've only got 1 or 2 of those, if you get accepted into the program, it might delay your being able to go to clinicals. And so they're very important. So kind of, I recommend looking at this list, writing it down somewhere, and kind of checking your immunization records to make sure that you have them. We also have this listed on our website, so take a look at those. Some of these you don't need until you start the program, such as your CPR certification, as well as a criminal background check and drug screening. Those don't come now, they come later if you're accepted into the program. But this is a list of requirements that we want to make sure everyone's aware of. So if you're transferring from another nursing program, just make sure you have a letter of good standing from that nursing program. And there you can either send it directly to me, or you can upload it in another section, which we'll get to here in a second. And here we have the technical standards for nursing practice. So like it sounds, these are the standards of which a person who wants to practice nursing need to be able to have. These are basic skills that are required for being a nurse. So read these carefully and make sure that you know that all this applies to you, that you're able to do this. Nursing's not easy. So they want to make sure that anyone who goes into nursing can perform the job. And then if you're a military or veteran, please select yes. If not, this is where you would put the little NA, and this is one of those spots where people kind of miss. So make sure you put NA or, doesn't apply, just so that we have that and you're able to actually complete your application. Honors College, you are able to be in the Honors College while you're in the nursing program. And we just like to know who's going to be in the Honors College so we know what to expect if you're accepted. So let us know with that one. And then here's some more just assurances that are program and university based. So we have an inclusion statement, and then there's the confirmation of provisional acceptance. Should you be chosen to be accepted in the program, you do have to turn in a confirmation of acceptance letter, a signed letter, as well as a $100 deposit fee. So that's just to let you guys know that there will be a deposit fee coming along if you're accepted. It is refundable to your student account once you start the program, so you will get that money back. So that is actually the full application for us as far as questions go. We also have a section here for documents. So I'll click on documents, and here is where you're going to upload that resume or your CV, as well as your class schedule. And then if you have anything else like a letter of good standing, that can go here as well. We do require that personal statement too. So here we have it. If you need to put anything else in here, that's why we have the other section. You can upload stuff there, and the schedule also gets put under this other. So, but make sure you upload all of that. It's very important and used in scoring. And the schedule is also very important. Make sure you include everything that you're taking, because I look at that, and if I don't have that information, I have to email you and try to track down that information. So make sure you include, as much as you possibly can, because it just helps everyone in the whole process. And then once you are completed, it'll show those 4 squares as all green and completed. And then you just go up here to submit application. And this is where you would pay and submit your application. It'll show if you are fully completed and filled out every bit of your application, this whole bar will be green, and you'll be able to submit. I cannot submit because I didn't fill it out, but it's a really easy system. And I hope this has, kind of helped everyone feel a little less anxious about it. It's really easy, and I'm always here to help you, if you have any issues.
Thanks, Liz. Does anyone have any questions for Liz? I have one off the top of my head. I see it says total fee $60. Has the fee gone up to 60? Is it no longer 55?
I guess it has. I didn't know that either. So I guess it is 60. And I believe that is per application. So if you're applying to other schools through here, I think it would be another 60 per school.
Thank you. That's good to know.
Any other questions?
Do they only have one application open at a time? Like, is just the one for the fall open right now? Or
Yes, I believe so.
okay, because I'll be applying. I'll be applying like next or this summer, I guess it would be. So that one's not open at all?
No, so they will
Okay.
only do them one at a time. I think Liz has been in and out a little bit today, so she may have cut out, but they don't usually open them until a couple months before the deadline. So you should only be able to find the one for January. And then when the July application is approaching in June, like June 1st, you'll see that one go
Okay,
up.
thank you.
Mhm.
Sorry about the background noise, but whenever you talk about the job shadow request form on the BSN application, is that still necessary or is that a different document?
There is no job shadow requirement for nursing. If you did job shadowing, include it on your resume.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions about that application? Or nursing cast in general?
I was wondering on the application where it says other documents or optional documents, is it like recommended that we have letters of recommendation there, or do we not need to include those on there anywhere?
Letters of recommendation will not be considered.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right, guys. So that was the application. Like I said, we'll do one final questions at the end if you think of anything, but I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Jessica and let her kind of walk through just some resume tips and suggestions.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. And just okay, so this slideshow was created by David Johnson, who was an academic advisor and also worked in the Career Center. So he was able to share some of this information with us. So just wanting to go over how you can convey the things that you're good at, your strengths onto your resume. So we just have a couple tips for you guys. First thing we're going to go over is the formatting. So you'll want to stick to 11, 12 point professional fonts. Selecting 1-inch margins are acceptable. Use bullets, bold, and italics to show definition. However, you want to stay away from pictures and colors. So bold colors, or sorry, not colors, but bolding on maybe your academic background or on the top of your of a section you can bold, but try to stay away from the colors. Write concisely and eliminating unnecessary words. So you want to kind of keep things concise, not super elaborate. You just want to get to the point of the things that your strengths are. And please always spell check. Have someone edit it for you as well. Have a second pair of eyes. You definitely don't want to send your resume in that has grammar or spelling errors. The next thing is just because you don't have much, if you don't have any healthcare experience, it doesn't mean that you can make your other jobs relevant. So using transferable skills such as problem solving, communication, leadership, negotiating. So for example, if someone works at Starbucks, they have experience in a fast-paced environment. They have experience working as a team. Maybe you're a team leader. So those kinds of things are transferable and they can be transferred over into nursing, being in that fast-paced environment, having good communication skills, working with the public. So instead of just saying maybe barista or making coffee or working with money, you can use those other transferable skills. Also, you'll want to highlight if you have any experience in volunteer, community service. Think of academic projects, student organizations. It's good to brainstorm and just think of anything from grade 9 till now and just write down on a piece of paper everything that you've been involved in, like maybe the prom committee, maybe you helped out with the Humane Society. Just want to write everything down and you can put that all in your resume. So like I said, using action words, think of at my job, I did this. At my job, I was a good team member. And you don't have to list everything, but try to keep it, like I said, transferable skills and trying to keep it to nursing. So did you use compassion when working with the elderly? Were you able to use time management? Those are really good words. Also, confidentiality, that's really important, and safety. Those are big words to think about when you're putting together your resume. Oh, and sorry, on that last slide, there were links there for the Career Center. Okay, so there are 3 different types of resumes. So I'm just going to quickly go through the different types. The first one is chronological. So this is where you're going to put your experience and you're going to put the most recent one at the top. So you go from what you're doing now at the very top, and then you move down to the years previously. The next one is called a functional resume. So this is primarily for those without a lot of job experience. So this is where you're going to focus on a lot of your skill sets instead of experience. So for example, this student had written articles and they broke that down in their writing experience. So it wasn't necessarily a job, but they have experience, so they put that in there to highlight. The last one is a combination resume. That one's the most popular type. This one has your experience as well as your transferable skills detailed in your resume. So as I said before, with the bullet points and using bold, you can see communication and design skills. They put their education right at the top. But this isn't very wordy. There's not any summary or anything. It's all bullet points. So this is kind of an example of what not to do. So this resume has a lot of pictures. It has your a career objective on the left here. That one is not what we're looking for, just more so the bullet point. It also has a lot of colors. So you just want to kind of keep it simple. So getting help with your resume, I strongly suggest making an appointment with the Career Center. They can look over your resume, they can help you organize it, they can help you organize it from your volunteer experience to your work experience, they can help you with the spell check. So it's definitely worth spending some time with your resume as it being part of your application, a big part of it when they look at your T's, your GPA, and your resume. So don't want you guys to ignore this piece. It's good to have the professionals at the Career Center to really take a good look at your resume. And that's it for me about that.
Any questions about resumes? Or personal statements? We haven't really talked about those much. If you have questions about that.
How do you suggest we list volunteer and experience stuff? Should we make a chart, bullet point? What should we do?
I think it's really important to be consistent in your style across your resume. So if you've been using, I've never really seen tables or charts in resumes, so I would recommend just listing your volunteer experience as you would job experience. And if there are details that you want to emphasize, I particularly encourage like bullet points with skill sets if it's something people likely wouldn't recognize. So maybe it's a local organization that we're not going to know about here in Springfield. Add those details on there, completed job shadow. Maybe it was a program at school, completed job shadowing at the local hospital, spent time in labs at the local community college, like anatomy lab, like things like that you did in case we don't recognize it well, not we, but the nursing program doesn't recognize it. And they're like, do I give someone points for this? If you let them know what was done, they could be like, oh, this goes points for this or for that. Like it gives them an idea of what something is. But I always recommend organizing by type. So like volunteer experience, job experience, internship, like depending on how much you have of various things, organizations, leadership experience, and then listing it out underneath it, when you did it, and then any skill sets you want to point out in it. But those are my thoughts. Jessica, Liz, Liz, you probably look at them more than we do.
I agree. Short and concise is really best. Bullet points are great in resumes.
Would there be a point in listing like hours of volunteer work if our organization provides that?
Liz, do they use hours to calculate points or anything? Or like for job shadowing and stuff?
I'm not sure. I'm thinking not, but it doesn't hurt either to put it on there.
Yeah, I would say add it. And it doesn't have to be elaborate, just short and simple.
Yep.
Yes, it's okay to have more than a page on your resume.
Mhm. Because that's the traditional resume that most students are encouraged to do, is to keep everything in one page. But for this nursing application, it's okay to go over that one page. Is that correct, Liz? That's what I've been telling the students too, because they'll have so much, some students may have a lot of stuff from grade 9 to now.
Oh, I think I muted myself. Any general questions? Okay, guys, that's really all the content that we had to cover with you. I did forget to hit record at the beginning, but I picked up when Liz took over. So I will be posting the video on Blackboard, but the presentation will be there as well. So the stuff that I presented at the beginning, you can find in the presentation. And then everything with the nursing cast and all of the resume points have been recorded and in the video. But I am going to go ahead and dismiss everyone. If you want to stick around and ask a final question, Liz and Jessica and I will hang out for a few minutes, but you are free to go.
Sorry, I just thought of one question.
Mhm.
You guys said on the resume, there's like the first block and it has like 3 things, like the other, is that where our class schedule goes?
Oh, on
Not
that
like the bottom other, like the first other? Yeah.
Yeah, either of the other categories
It-
will work.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Mhm.
And do we have to turn our own transcript in, or do you guys get that through Missouri State? If like when I like my dual credit, they would already have, and like mine other classes are through Missouri State, or do I need to turn one in as well?
So if you've turned in your dual credit and you're here at Missouri State not taking any other courses anywhere else, then you don't need to turn in anything. Now, like if you're taking anything during the summer, I will still need like a statement saying at least that I'm taking, XYZ in the summer. So we have that.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
I did have one question too. So regarding if I took summer classes last summer at a community college back home, and I had that transcript sent to MSU at the beginning of this year, and it's currently in my transcript now, do you guys need another one, or can you guys see it if it's in my transcript from here too?
You should see it now, right, Elena? Yeah,
Yeah,
it should
if it's
be
populating your
processed.
degree audit, we have access to it. I would just check your audit. If it's showing up on your degree audit, we have it.
Perfect. Thank you.
I have a question on the TEAS exam. I signed up for taking it at my community college. As long as I put that I want the test to be sent to MSU, will that be okay?
That should be just fine. As long as it's the TEAS exam and you send it to us, that will be fine.
Thank you.
If you're taking summer classes, yes, you can just type it up on a Word document and attach it to your application. But yeah, if you're taking summer classes, you won't be registered for them yet. We will not know that. You do need to add that so Liz knows that you are prepared to finish your coursework.
As for the resume and like points for volunteering hours, were you saying earlier that we don't get like specific points for having more hours? Will we still get points for just like having some volunteer experience?
My understanding is you will get points for having volunteer experience. Jessica and I have never seen the rubric. Liz, I don't know if you have access to the rubric or not. So at the department may give points for certain numbers of hours. We don't think they do, but it would not hurt to include that on there just in case. But they will give you definitely credit for volunteer experience.
Perfect. And then just a follow-up on that. I have quite a bit. Do you have to like list out like all of them, or do I just like put a little number next to it that says like what I have?
I would probably group it by type of experience or type of volunteer experience, just in case, particularly, like I said, we don't have access to the rubric, but I know Cynthia always emphasized healthcare related and not healthcare related. So especially if you have volunteer experience that falls into multiple categories, maybe just saying, healthcare related volunteer experience and listing out those locations, or community related volunteer experience or something like that.
Okay, and because mine's all most of it is at Mercy Hospital, so I have like almost 100 hours there. So would it be okay if I just put like Mercy Hospital and then put like the dash next to it and then those hours? Is that like what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
And then for that, if you were at Mercy Hospital and you were on different like floors, like because it's volunteering different things, maybe just emphasize that, like if you did different types of volunteer at Mercy.
Perfect. I did. Thank you. I forgot about that.
Anyone else?
I have a question. Sorry, can you hear me? I'm a little out of a space.
We can hear you.
Okay. I was a little late, so I'm not sure if you covered this, which you probably did, so I'm sorry about that. Did you say the average T-score that Missouri State has like averaged out to?
I was told on average an 80% for students getting into the program.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.